Ever stood in an empty room and felt you weren't alone? Psychic investigator Andy Matthews has.
I try and get to the bottom of the truth.
And he's not the only one.
I've gone all through my life, from a very young age, being aware of spirit.
Something's down there. It's really a quest to find out the truth behind what happens to us whenever we pass over.
An ancient settlement dating back to the 1600s. Some say the spirits of its past still reside here.
I can't hear you. I hadn't actually ever seen anything until I started working in the barn.
Oh, he doesn't like me up here. Get out, he's saying to me, get out.
Somebody has. There we go.
They believe. The question is, do you?
Can you knock twice for me? Now.
Psychic investigator Andy Matthews is on his way to what's reputed to be the oldest haunted house in County Derry.
I'm an evidence gatherer, so I'll collate and collect whatever evidence I can get through myself, through Marion, our medium, through our investigation team. I think Northern Ireland is probably one of the most haunted places in the world. It's got a magical mystery about it, you know, the myths and legends, and it's just dripping with history. And I was really surprised, actually, how open to the paranormal the people are here, because when you come across something that you don't fully understand, your natural reaction is to find an alternative explanation for it. Oh, that was me. It happens.
Balahi Bawn, a former 17th century manor under state care for the last 2 decades, is one of the 12 original Ulster plantation settlements.
It comes from 2 Irish words, bow, meaning cow, and dun, meaning fort. And basically it functioned as a fortified courtyard, somewhere you could retreat in times of warfare.
With many of its original features still intact, the building is steeped in history. Some say the ghosts of Balahi's past still resonate in the walls. Andy is inclined to believe them.
It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, this place. It's loads of different buildings just added on. And with all the renovation work that's been going on over the years, you know, I wouldn't really be that surprised if it's disturbed certain energies within the building. So, yeah, we could be in for an interesting time here.
Cara Stewart has lived beside the Bawn all her life. She's not the only member of her family to have sensed something unusual here.
We're doing a spring clean of the barn for an event that was taking place later in the week. My sister was in the round tower room. She just heard little court shoes coming behind her on the wooden floor. She actually just lifted her bits and bobs, flew down the stairs.
So you feel as though it was a woman, obviously, because of the shoes?
Because of the shoes, yeah. Deep down, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, but I hadn't actually ever seen anything until I started working in the barn. I definitely believe that there's a presence in the barn, probably more than one.
The office where Ivan Minnis used to work has been deserted for 2 years now.
I'd be the education officer based here at the barn.
It's in what's known as the Wee House, a former 19th century nursery with a reputation that's far from innocent.
A few strange incidents have happened in here over the years. One occupant said they came in one morning to find everything covered in dust and no clear evidence of where it would have come from. Another described how they couldn't get into the room. The door wouldn't open. A chair had been jammed against the door from the other side.
Jammed against the door? What, sort of, you got the door shut and it had been sort of jemmied up?
Jammed up against the door, and they had to kind of edge in, moving the chair back and back. And again, the same occupant of the office at the time described how papers were rearranged. She'd left out a set of papers ready for a presentation and found them all scattered the following morning. And no windows open, nothing like that to explain that.
Sounds like poltergeist activity. What's it been used for? Has it always been a family home? Or?
No.
300 years ago, the house where the Stewart family now live was a redcoat barracks attached to the Bawn. Poltergeist activity has never been reported here, but according to Cara, another equally strange presence has visited.
Okay, well, the house was renovated in 1997, and we'd moved back in a few weeks. I came in one night and I was washing my face when I saw a solid, well, it was more solid than a shadow, side profile of a man moving in that direction, okay? But a few seconds later, the profile, the shadow, it did come back, and I saw the other side of the profile moving in this direction.
And this wasn't frosted glass, was it? This is
no, it can't be
plain.
Because it's a listed building.
All right.
Yeah, so we can't have frosted glass.
So it would have been a distorted image. This would have been something you could have seen
No, this is
clearly.
something that I saw clearly. I actually thought it was my brother. So when I saw it, I rapped the window and I shouted, "Frankie, I'll let you in now." And there was no answer. And it was then I realised that what I saw wasn't human.
And did you come out and investigate? Did anybody come out and take a look?
I did not. Not in your life would I come out at that time in the night to investigate, so no.
In the hope of contacting at least one of the Bond's many reported ghosts, Andy heads straight for the oldest part of the building, the tower room.
Now, I had a kind of a feeling that there was somebody here when I walked in. As I looked to my left, I got a fleeting kind of image of a colourful dress just wafting past in my peripheral vision out the corner of my eye. I'm not saying it was a ghost, it could have been a trick of the light, it could have been light coming in from the window, but it didn't startle me, it made me jump back. So that's when I decided to take centre of the floor and sit there with the dowsing rods. Do you wish to talk to me? When you're doing paranormal investigations, it's very easy to take the scientific angle all the time, you know, plug something in and switch it on. I prefer sometimes to try the more human approach, and that's just simply ask. You know, and with the dowsing rods, or divining rods, or whatever you want to call them, it's not conclusive proof of spiritual contact in any way, shape or form, but it is an interesting device. The rods themselves are just a brass rod, as you can see, with a plastic handle which turns. So it's very, very difficult, as you can see me here, trying to get them to cross. But it's I'm not sure how it works really, but it's, give me a yes. There you go. Is there anybody here in this room? And talk to me. Is there a lady here? Are you a child? Whoa. There was some kind of energy or electromagnetic pull that was making them spin at that speed, and as they were doing that, I could feel the charges, or like an electrical charge, like a static, going through my body, and also there was a great temperature drop on my back, and then suddenly it stopped. It was as if the lady of the house came in and took the children out, just took them away. So that's when I decided to record the experiment on my digital voice recorder. Can you talk into this and tell me your name? Is your name Peter? Patrick? The name Peter first struck me, it hit me like an idea. You know, as you know, I did train as a medium once, and sometimes when you're walking around places, you pick up names that just pop into your head, and that's literally how it happened. Having reviewed the EVP session, it sounds like when I ask the boy ghost, if you like, is your name Peter? It sounds like he's saying no. The voice does, there's some kind of sound there anyway. I need to get it checked with the NIPS boys and get it analysed, but this is it. Here it is.
The house is a 400-year history, so there's obviously going to have been children here over the years. The Hill family, we know, had close to 30 children, of which I think 22 survived. And the Thompson family, who came into the house after them, they had 9 children. They actually used the wee house as a nursery, and also the top